Now I have 3 copies of the Canterbury Tales and I've never read it. They have like movie covers and for some reason they're very identical, even though they're not even movies. This is not what the characters look like in the book. I'm sorry. Like, why are we putting teenage supermodels on books? So whenever I start a video and have to record the intro, my voice is always really high because I'm nervous, I think. So I'm gonna start this recording by talking about random stuff to get myself relaxed so that my voice doesn't progressively get lower throughout the video, because it's really weird. My voice starts out like, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and we don't need to do that. That's not what needs to happen. So today I'm bringing you a book haul. They were all free, so yet another free book haul, the best kind of book haul. Why spend money on books? And even if you do have to spend money on books, please buy used books because you can find the coolest stuff, especially if you love classics. You can get classics for so cheap. Maybe I'll make a video all about that. I was actually thinking, tell me if this interests you, I was thinking about making a video about every single book I've bought from thrift books, because there are a lot, and giving you the prices and everything and telling you whether I thought it was worth it. Most of them were perfect. So let me know if that interests you, if you want to see how much money I've spent on that website. Okay, but still, like, each book probably averages, I'll have to do the math, but my guess is like $4 or $5, which is pretty good. Okay, so all of these books that I have here, I believe there are 15, came from a local high school. They just dumped trash bags full of books out on the sidewalk. I can actually, I think, I took some footage of me discovering the books. So many books. Most of them had 20, 30, 40 copies because I'm assuming they were used as class text. Some of them were in these editions that are the Everbind editions, I think, the ones that you see in schools all the time that are, you know, durable. So yeah, they had tons of books and I didn't even look through all of them because it was late and I was rushing. 5 of these my mom got, 5 or 10 of them I got. So I've combined them all together. Because of that, there's actually a duplicate. So let's start here. This is the Canterbury Tales by Chaucer. My mom picked up the Everbind one and I was like, they have a Penguin Classics one. This is pretty small. It's not like the full, I don't think it's the full size, hold on. So it's not the full size because here's, these are the older editions, right? This is what the size looks like compared to the full size Penguins. But it's still really cute. I don't actually have a free floating copy of this. I only have, I believe it's the whole thing. Oh no, I do. I do already have a copy of this. In my, I think you can see it, the I forgot, Program Classics edition. I believe I have a copy of the Canterbury Tales, but this one's portable and cheap, as is this one. So now I have 3 copies of the Canterbury Tales and I've never read it. If you like read this outside of school or read it for school and loved it or liked it, let me know. Like, should I feel like it's something I have to read. How do I enjoy it? Because I've only heard people read it for school and be like, that was the worst thing ever. So let me know how I should enjoy the Canterbury Tales. I'm starting off with the least exciting stuff, at least to me. There were tons of French books. So this one's literally the AP French literature anthology. I don't speak French or read French. My mom does. I want to speak and read and write French. Reading would probably come the easiest because, well, I should learn how to pronounce the words, but because it's a Romance language, I can understand some of it, and I could just never know how to pronounce it, but that would be really dumb. So I should learn how to pronounce it, learn how to read it. This anthology has, oh, it has writing in it. All the people that it belonged to. That's funny. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce these names. I forgot. I talked to my mom about it, but I forgot. Racine, sorry, R-A-C-I-N-E, Racine, Voltaire, Flaubert, and Beaumarchais. That's my guess. So 4 French writers. And then I got an abridged Madame Bovary in French, because maybe this could be somewhere I could start. I don't know. I don't expect Madame Bovary to be so easy in French, but apparently this is what people read when they're studying French. So those are the 2 French books. Everything else is in English. Next, I picked up The Great Gatsby. This is the classic cover you see, but it's a weird kind of edition. It's like clearly a school edition. So it's not as nice, but it's also very legible. Is that the word? Yeah, legible. I think. And I just don't own this book, even though I've read it and I loved it, so I thought, why not own it? Wait, this isn't even what I found. My mom found this, and I was like, whoa, you found The Great Gatsby? I didn't even see that there, so that was a lie, sorry. But yeah, I'm really glad to have this. It's like a really weird printed edition. It's very fuzzy, the text, but I really like this cover. So one day I should actually get a nice edition of this book since I really liked it. Okay, next we have Billy Budd and Other Tales by Herman Melville, a Signet Classics edition. It has a ton of, I guess they're short stories. Yeah, they're short stories. I have not read any of Melville. I have 2 copies of Moby Dick and I am not going there right now. Should I start with this? Should I start with Moby Dick? I don't know. Maybe start with this and see what I think of his writing. I probably am gonna read Moby Dick one day anyway, but maybe this could be a good way to kickstart. And it's so cute and tiny. I didn't finish that sentence. Maybe it would be a good way to kickstart my Herman Melville exploration. Then I picked this up. I have heard of Sister Carrie. I don't know what it's about. Maybe I shouldn't read what it's about because like I did in my other video, I got spoiled by reading the blurb of this book, but I probably should read it just so I know what it's about. It's in a Penguin Classics edition, which is the main reason I picked it up because I love these. It's by Theodore Dreiser, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And okay, it's a landmark in American literature. This is a complete and unexpurgated version. Has it been expurgated before? Did something happen? I should probably look up, let's look up the history of this book. Handy dandy iPad. Oh, on the back of my iPad, I guess I can show you my stickers just because I want to. This is a wug. If you're a linguistics student, you know what this is. I have a ton of black cats because I have a black cat that looks just like this. I like seals, so I like seals. And then of course I like reading, and we have dinosaurs and dinosaurs made out of books. This is an ancient Greek boar, Etruscan boar. Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay, those are the stickers on my iPad if you were wondering, which you weren't. Okay, it's published in 1900. It's about a young woman who moves to a big city where she starts realizing her own American dream. She first becomes a mistress to men she perceives as superior, but later becomes a famous actress. The greatest of all American urban novels. That sounds super fun and interesting. Is it? I don't want to read the plot summary. So publishers declared it to be too sordid. I don't know what sordid means. So I'm gonna look it up because that's what I do when I don't know a word. That's my most recent videos about. Okay, like sleazy. Okay. Between 1900 and 1980, all editions of the novel were of a second altered version, so that's what that's about. It has been, I guess, censored slightly in the past, but this is obviously a post-1980 publication. Oh yeah, it literally says it right here. I could have just read this. Okay. Dreiser, is it Dreiser? I have to learn how to pronounce it now. There's nothing let me know if there's anything I can do about the fact that there's like constantly sirens and motorcycles going by outside. I'm moving from one big city to another, so I feel like there's always gonna be background noise in these videos, and I don't even notice it because I'm so used to it. So most of the time I don't stop talking when there's an ambulance going by, so that's just something that's gonna be a part of my videos, I guess.
Theodore Dreiser.
Dreiser, okay. Tell me if that's right. Maybe she's wrong. The reason I say that is because I like the way I was pronouncing it better, which makes no sense. Okay, it's a story about a country girl's rise to riches. As the mistress of a wealthy man marked the beginnings of the naturalist movement in America. I don't know what that is. That sounds cool. Both its subject matter and Dreiser's objective, non-moralizing approach made it highly controversial, and only a heavily edited edition could be published in 1900. In this restored edition, the truly revolutionary nature of Sister Carrie is made fully evident. That's what a blurb should be like, right? All I know is it's American story of rags to riches. They didn't give me the plot. Even the one on Wikipedia was too much, that she becomes famous or whatever. Wow, the text is not so pretty in this book, but that's okay. It confuses me how within an edition, the text quality and other stylistic things can range so much, but it is what it is. I like the cover art a lot. I don't usually, not that this is hyper realistic or a photo, but I don't usually like photos as book covers, but on Bookstagram there are some people that I follow, and I think one of them, I'll put their names up right now. They're their usernames. You should follow them. They have a lot of like vintage, I don't know if it's like the Penguin vintage, modern classic, something. Those editions are really pretty and they only have photographs as covers, so I might be changing my mind about that. What I do hate is movie covers, like movie photos as covers. I don't think those ever look good. And wait, let me show you something even funnier. This is the Gone series by Michael Grant, and they have like movie covers, and for some reason they're very identical, even though they're not even movies. I hate these covers so much. And like, that's not, this is not what the characters look like in the book. I'm sorry. Like, why are we putting teenage supermodels on books? Like, these are just random kids who are experiencing weird stuff in this world, right? All the adults disappear. That's not what they look like. They don't have time to put makeup on when they're killing each other. Like, no. Next we have another small old Penguin classics, Don Quixote by Cervantes. This is the translation by J.M. Cohen. I have started Don Quixote in the, I think it's Edith Grossman translation. It's Edith Grossman. I'm assuming she has a more, oh no. I'm getting Canvas notifications from my classes for this fall that I'm not taking because I'm enrolled still in classes at my current college. I should turn on Do Not Disturb, and that's a terrifying thought that classes start soon. I wish I was taking this class though. It is, I think it's either Language, Brain, and the Mind or Endangered Languages in the Global City, which both sound really interesting. And if I were staying here, I would only be taking 3 classes and a ton of dance classes, and that sounds like the dream. But I think I'm still gonna take only 3 classes when I'm in Barcelona, hopefully. This shouldn't be in this video. We're doing a book haul. Really cool cover art. I like the vintage look to this book. Also has kind of small and eye-straining text. The chapters in this book are really short, so this could be like a 1 chapter a night kind of thing. I don't think I can do that with books. I need to finish them, I think. And I hope that the translation is not so old that it's harder for me to read. I mean, it happened sometime in the 20th century, this translation, so it can't be too bad, right? And I'm sure some people are like, love this one above Grossman's. There's a lot of translation talk always. I got an interesting comment from someone, I forget your name, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go check. Oliver, if you're watching this, hi. He left a comment about how basically as English readers and speakers, we have the luxury of picking between translations, and that's really true. I don't know how many other languages provide multiple translations of books. So yeah, I think it's really interesting. I really respect the art of translation and I find it fascinating, and it's so great that we can pick between multiple translations and see how people have interpreted books. And when you have a favorite book that wasn't written in English, you can, you know, experience it, how different people have experienced it. Obviously, I'd love to just be able to read these books in their original languages, but it is really a luxury as English readers that we get to do that. It's also kind of a luxury if you speak more than one language to be able to experience books in their original form. But yeah, take a moment to be grateful if you're an English reader, which most of you probably are, that we have so many books available to us. Like, some books don't even get translated into most languages, but also different versions and different translations of literature. I'm really, really grateful for that, because it's the next best thing it's the next best thing to read a book in translation, in multiple translations, than to read the original. By the way, I'm not summarizing these books just because I would probably do a poorer job than literally anything else that's been written about these because they're so famous. But this is sometimes regarded as the first novel that was written, although I started reading Plato's Republic, and that seemed pretty novel-like to me. But yeah, this is hefty. It's I think it's funny, and it's I probably should read it since I'm going to Spain. That's not helpful to you. But yeah, it's a classic. It's big, but the chapters are short, so if you are someone who likes to spread out your reading, maybe this could be like, it's like a little mini adventure each chapter, so that's kind of a fun thing about it. And I got to the windmill scene when I started reading it, and that was pretty funny. So that's all I'm gonna say for this book. But if you're looking for a large classic early novel, this could be for you. Oxford World's Classics, but a really old one, I guess. That's kind of cool. Is this a really old edition? Oh, sorry, it's St. Augustine's Confessions. I've only read, I think, the chapter on time for a philosophy class I took, and it was really hard to understand. I would like to read this whole thing. This is translated by Henry Chadwick, and I love the yellow color of these books. Sorry, all I do is talk about how these books look and nothing about the content. I'll talk more about the content, like I said, when it comes to a book that isn't as uberly famous. This one is translated in 1991, so hopefully that helps me. I hope I have something usable in this video. I'm being much more casual than I usually am, and I'm rambling and not finishing my sentences. So I saved all of my full, complete thoughts and articulate sentences for my expanding your vocabulary video. So this is what we're left with now, the remainder of my brain. Okay, I'm very wrong. He is part of the late Roman Empire. Yeah, like right when Rome is disintegrating, I guess, is when he lived. This is like a work of philosophy, and he's recognized as a saint in the Catholic Church, the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Anglican Communion. But yeah, this is extremely important to Western philosophy and Western Christianity. I am so nervous that everything I'm saying about this is totally wrong. I'm so ignorant about everything that surrounds this book, and doing research mid-video is not the best move, but I will just read the quote that's on the back because that is something I can't mess up. You called and cried out loud and shattered my deafness. You were radiant and resplendent. You put to flight my blindness. You were fragrant, and I drew in my breath and now pant after you. I tasted you, and I feel but hunger and thirst for you. You touched me, and I am set on fire to attain the peace which is yours. That's really beautiful. Don't know. I want to know the context behind that. Yeah. So that is Confessions by St. Augustine. Here we have Truman Capote's Breakfast at Tiffany's. I haven't read this, I haven't watched the movie, and I should probably do both of these things. This is the Vintage International editions, which I really like. I've gotten more of these very recently, and they're quite nice. Love the cover. Let's just read the back because I don't really know what it's about. In this seductive, wistful masterpiece, Truman Capote created a woman whose name entered the American idiom and whose style is part of the literary landscape. Holly Golightly knows that nothing bad can ever happen to you at Tiffany's. Her poignancy, wit, and naivete continue to charm. This volume also includes 3 of Capote's best-known stories, House of Flowers, A Diamond Guitar, and A Christmas Memory, which the Saturday Review called one of the most moving stories in our language. It is a tale of 2 innocents, a small boy and the old woman who is his best friend, whose sweetness contains a hard, sharp kernel of truth. So this is more than just Breakfast at Tiffany's. Cool. Yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's and 3 stories. So they must be very short, which is good for me because I like short books, and they make me feel accomplished when I finish reading them. So in more American classics, really excited about this one. Here's another Vintage International. This is Dispatches by Michael Herr. Haven't heard of this, but John Le Carre, the one who wrote some mystery novel I have on my shelf, said this is the best book I've ever read on men and war in our time. So it's under military history in Vietnam, so pretty recent. It was written on the front lines of Vietnam, and it became a classic of war reportage when it was published in 1977. From its terrifying opening pages to its final eloquent words, Dispatches makes us see in unforgettable and unflinching detail the chaos and fervor of the war. Yeah. One of the best books I ever read was The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien, and it's about the Vietnam War, and I would love to read more about that, learn more, and this was written on the front lines, so it's probably very moving, and it probably has a lot of really interesting and detailed information. Even when I just flip to this page, it looks like very detailed information about this. So it's something I'm really interested in. I love American history, learning about it. So this seems like a good thing to add to my American history and lit collection. We have Joseph Conrad's The Secret Agent, now a major motion picture. Wonder when that became a major motion picture. What is with penguin in this terribly small text? From the seed of an actual event, the attempt to blow up the Greenwich Observatory in 1894, Joseph Conrad created one of his most tense and chilling tales. The unpredictable world of the secret agent is mirrored in its squalid landscape and in the characters of those who inhabit it. There is the professor, a terrorist who always carries a bomb in his pocket, Verloc, a sleazy pornographer and spy, fatuous civil servants, corrupt policemen, and other amoral characters operating on both sides of the law. The Secret Agent is a riveting story marked by biting political satire and spine-tingling suspense. That sounds really interesting. I have not read any Joseph Conrad. Does he have a more famous book that I can't think of? Heart of Darkness. Is that by him? Yeah. I'm so dumb. I don't even know the books I own because I'm acquiring so many. Here it is, Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. So more Conrad. I also have The Secret Chair. I really want to read all of this. Yeah, okay, Heart of Darkness takes place in the Congo, I think. Interesting. So yeah, clearly, I have too many books. Not too many books, you can't have too many books, but clearly I am acquiring books faster than I can even take them in and realize what I own, like let alone read them. Okay, we have The Floating Opera and the End of the World by John Barth. They are Barth's first two novels. Their relationship to each other is evident not only in their ribald, what is up with me and not knowing the words on the backs of these books? Ribald means like body or indecent, so let's go back. Their relationship to each other is evident not only in their ribald subject matter, but in the eccentric characters and bitterly humorous tone of the narratives. Both concern strange, consuming love triangles. I don't like love triangles. And the destructive effect of an overactive intellect on the emotions. Separately, they give two very different views of universal human drama. Together, they illustrate the beginnings of an illustrious career. That doesn't give much information, but I'm okay with that. These books, I love how they've all started to yellow around the edges. This was originally published in the 50s, 1950s. And I love some modernish classics, so I'm sure this will be very good. And I kind of like the cover. What's on this cover? I don't know, but this photo here is giving me like Picasso Guernica vibes, or this drawing here. This looks really interesting, and I don't need to know more about what it's about. If you do, I don't know, look it up. I don't want to get spoiled. Sorry. We have another Penguin book. It looks pretty old as well. It is Great Jones Street by Don DeLillo. For every book, I have to look up how to pronounce something.
DeLillo.
So now that I've heard DeLillo pronounced to me around 10 times, I think I got it. This is not a very well-known book, it looks like. It was written in 1973, and it is about rock and roll. This might have been one that my dad picked up, because this seems like it's be something up his alley. It's about a rock and roll star, musical satire. Sounds pretty cool. Buddy Wunderlich, a rock star and budding Messiah, has hit a spiritual wall. In mid-tour, he bolts from his band to hole up in a dingy East Village apartment. I used to live in the East Village. And separates himself from the paranoid machine that propels the culture he has helped create. As faithful fans await messages, Bucky encounters every sort of roiling force he is trying to escape. A penetrating look at rock and roll's merger of art, commerce, and urban decay. It reflects our era's nightmares and hallucinations with an appropriate lurid, tawny shades. This seems perfect for my dad. Less so for me, but make sure he gets this. And then lastly, we have Willa Cather, The Professor's House. This is an old vintage classics edition. I really like that cover art. Really nice printing with big margins and clear text. This isn't helping anyone, but I like to talk about whether a book looks nice, apparently. Oh, and it has the names of the students in it. Okay. And here's a quote. In great misfortunes, people want to be alone. They have a right to be, and the misfortunes that occur within one are the greatest. How do people we once were persist inside the men and women we become? How do we reconcile our oldest dreams with the demands of our present lives? And what if our reasoned pursuit of happiness ends up betraying needs that are deeper and more sacred? Willa Cather addressed these questions with empathy and startling insight in The Professor's House. Cather's protagonist is Professor Godfrey St. Peter, a man in his 50s who has devoted his life to his work, his wife, his garden, and his daughters, and achieved success with all of them. But when St. Peter is called on to move to a new, more comfortable house, something in him rebels. And although at first that rebellion consists of nothing more than mild resistance to his family's wishes, it imperceptibly comes to encompass the entire order of his life, combining profound introspection with a delightful grasp of the social and domestic rituals of a Midwestern university town. The Professor's House is a brilliant study in emotional dislocation and renewal. I like that. I like that question at the beginning. How do we reconcile our oldest dreams with the demand of our present lives? This book is falling apart in my hands, but apparently vintage classics are quality paperback editions and they're printed on acid-free paper, so that means they don't yellow, which is nice. Although I don't mind a yellow book. That sounds really interesting. I have heard of Willa Cather. I might have something by her. This is how bad my library has gone. I'm like, maybe I have something by Willa Cather. Does she have a more famous work? My Antonia seems to be her most famous. Yes, that is quite famous. It's the third in a trilogy, but it's the most famous. It was written in 1918. That is interesting. So yeah, My Antonia, it looks like it's her most famous work. The Professor's House is a little lesser known. It was published in 1925, and it looks quite interesting. So those are the books I got. So those were all the books I got for free from this school that was giving them away. Nearly all classics or modern classics, a little bit of French literature, some duplicate books, and I'm really excited about these. Tell me which ones you've read, which ones excite you the most, which ones I should read. Let's start a conversation about books and leave me video suggestions. Fill out the Google form in the description telling me your favorite book, because maybe I'll pick to read it. Anything else? Oh, follow me on Goodreads, add me on Goodreads as your friend. Follow me on Instagram, and yeah, leave a comment and a like. All right, bye everyone.